My name is Wallace. I am a vampire. I just got back from therapy class, like a class for therapy for drinking and other drug related things. Um, I spent like the last 3 hours being very, very passive and not taking charge. And I think that was definitely a win for me. I'm getting better at doing that. And I think that I was just commenting to myself about how I look. Um, I think it's very odd based off how I look when I act so passive. But I think that people understand that the people who've known me for a while now, they know how vampire like behavior can be, and sometimes being a leader at times, how I can start acting like I'm in charge and showing that kind of behavior, but just being passive. I think that's just a good way of saying, hey, I'm just trying to be considerate and enjoy um, being in a group and not be the leader, you know, and I'm here to learn. So I like doing that. Um, my beard is getting pretty long, but here's the thing. Um, yes, my mindset has been pretty passive, and I'm just like, hey, I'm just a regular dude for the last couple hours. But it's so funny because these people know I'm a vampire, and the people who everybody does, but you're hanging out with groups of people and you're just hanging out, and after a period of time, you get to be accepted and you're treating you like a regular dude, and to me that's amazing. But then I kind of I got home and I'm alone, and it's just like, oop, kind of back to reality in a way. And I like being able to act like a vampire and be able to speak and kind of my facial expressions are pretty bland, to be honest, when I'm in these kind of mindsets. But um, yeah, it's kind of nice just to be able to talk and talk to myself. And these videos are helping um, to be able to see the differences between how I am when I'm just being myself as a vampire versus being myself in a group of people, which is very, very different. Um, I recently read a comment from a person on this YouTube channel saying, if you really are a vampire, why doesn't the sunlight affect you? Well, it definitely does. And I commented and replied, and I said, you know, it definitely does. And my skin glows like in Twilight, the movie. So now I'm excited to record a video of me hanging out at Panera. I can see them, the people at Panera I've known for a while, and they're great people. And, I'm at the type of relationship where I can joke around with them. So I'm sure that they're, if I'm if I'm trying to be considerate, I can go ahead and do a video of me sitting outside, while drinking coffee, and my skin glowing. And, I should be kind of okay. um, so yeah, I'm excited to do that. I also was thinking something that kind of bothered me. Um, talking about fangs, vampire fangs. Like all vampires have fangs, right? I don't really have fangs, but I'm smoking nicotine. It's nicotine. Don't worry, y'all. By fang, maybe that I kind of have fangs. I don't. Do I think that in higher transformations that it's possible to develop fangs? Maybe, I don't know. I haven't actually seen a vampire with fangs before, like 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 they do in the movies, some movies. Vampires that I have met have not shown me that. So it's interesting. Like maybe in higher level transformations, and I've talked about higher level transformations in other videos a little bit. It's possible. I don't know. Maybe there's different strains of vampirism that allow for that. Who knows? Maybe it, but I've just never seen it. So yeah, I don't have fangs. I just got regular teeth. Yeah, just regular. A little disappointed. Um, uh, yeah, it how people communicate with me at times when I like imagine being at work, all right, just anywhere, could be anywhere, any job. And you got this dude who's transforming. Like in the morning, he's drinking coffee. He's sitting there alone, and his skin is glowing, and there's just energy around him. And he looks, his face is different, and his skin is like white. Okay, like walking by that guy, and you're just you're just going about your day. You're like, okay, well that dude is there, and then next thing you know, that guy is walking around, and he's being weird. He's trying to hide some of his weird movements. He's like you can kind of tell it's one of those days where he's even his movements are like super weird. Like not quite like something that you haven't seen. Okay, I'm not saying that that's a thing that comes uh, the glowing skin. I'm not saying the movements are optional. Obviously, I've had a lot of practice in different transformations being around people. So imagine this. All right, so you got this guy who's glowing and who's trying to contain him. Yeah, he's obviously like trying to contain himself and trying to be polite. And the next thing you know, he changes. Like you walk like 5 minutes later, he looks different and he's acting different, and he's trying to be just like a regular dude. And imagine getting used to that as just a regular person, and then you're a regular person, and you're having people tell you that, oh yeah, so by the way, that guy over there, he's a vampire. Like I love people so much, and the reason why I'm saying this is that people I know, not just the people I work with, but people I know, have come to adapt to that, with that scenario that I just described, and they do so in such a great way. They've gotten kind of used. They've gotten used to me, and it allows for me to sometimes just fit in and not have to be vampiric. And like tonight, in back of everybody's mind, I feel, I don't know obviously, but I feel like you can kind of tell they're like, well, he's just a regular dude. He looks weird. He's being passive. He the way I look doesn't match how I'm acting, which I'm not really acting. It's just it's like how I am. I'm just being kind of passive and hanging out. But in the back of their minds, I kind of see it sometimes. They're just like, "Oh, no, I have not forgotten this guy. The different ways that this guy has trying to find the right word. Like demonstrated magic. You know. Um, so it's interesting. Um, and of course, what I've learned for to be the best an easiest for everybody way of living for me and for everybody else. It's just for them to really paint me in their heads. It's like in the background, it's like, oh, he's a vampire. But like for the most part, people just treat me like I'm a rock star, kind of a loser. But also, I'm a leader, so I've got all these like skills. But it's best to treat me um, as I'm portraying myself, and I'm usually portraying myself as someone who is kind of dumb. And typically, I am kind of dumb, and I'm holding myself, uh, containing my personality, mostly for other people's sake, but also because I'm comfortable just hanging out. And I don't know if you've ever seen a person who's overbearing, who's in a room of people, and the people are just kind of do, and there's just like this one person that shows up and just like makes everybody feel like crap because they're so like their personalities are just like it's like you can't really say anything because that person's just just like um, the star of the show. And I'm pausing here because even if I try to portray myself as uh, you know kind of being uh, a kind of a regular dude who kind of wants to be a rock star who has kind of long hair. Um, even when I'm trying to be the smallest part of me or one of the smallest versions of me, I'm still overbearing. And I think that people that I know have come to accept that I'm trying to not be too much. And what I mean by too much is, I definitely have the ability to be way, 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 way too much. And to the point of where some people will start acting crazy. So don't want that. Of course, I don't want that. I care about these people, even when I'm mad. Even when I'm offended or insulted, especially now that I'm older. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be. There's no need for even if it was even if it was a person who I think would be kind of funny. It's like I've gotten to the point of adulthood and I would say proficiency in vampirism and my own type of magic that I would not use it. Um, Even though I know it, it could be useful, I realize that I can use basic human technique, techniques and skills, leadership skills, and kindness, and work ethic, and popularity, and humor, and that is enjoyable. And now that I've reached a point of I've reached several milestones of popularity, um, which is I may not be that popular. Let's be real. At the time of recording this video, I've got 11 subscribers. Okay, like to anybody else, to a regular person, that is not popular. And like, how many people really know me at where I work? How many people really know me at all? Like on a deeper level? To a regular person, that's not even kind of popular. But like for being a vampire though, openly a vampire, I feel extremely popular. And like a lot of people know about me, and like sometimes I'm like going down the road and like some strangers just like, oh yeah, vampire. So in that regard, it's different. It's very different. um, But yeah, um, I had a moment today where somebody I respect, basically what I'm trying to say and how this ties to trying to be small, but also, happy and effective. And it does go along with being vulnerable and being open to relationships and partnerships with women. Um, Clearly, I'm powerful, and I'm known for being powerful and having magical capabilities. I don't need to demonstrate that or prove myself. And even if somebody wanted me to, it'd be foolish to do so. You know, I say foolish, but I would say, unnecessary. Um, to be honest, being able to look good or to look attractive is usually enough to be considered worthy to be listened to. And if someone's listening to me, then I can speak to them. I'm very good at speaking. So that's a. Um, I I've I've reached a point, a milestone, a threshold to where being small is more valuable. To be able to listen and observe, and then to make small things, small kindness, small changes, small things have a huge impact on some people's lives. Very huge. Because of how they see me. There's the golden boy, there's the golden alpha, there's the vampire, there's the count, there's the and he's being kind and being kind to me, listening to me. That's that's not nothing to some people. Um, and as I've said before, trying being small and being in groups where sometimes people don't even know I'm a vampire. And while there's like five other people who do, and they're kind of laughing, you can kind of tell they're laughing. Um, what I'm trying to say is, um, kind of lost my train of thought. I keep looking at my eyes. My eyes are like changing. It's kind of throwing me off. And I was briefly reminded of when I do meet new people who do realize I'm something different. Uh, that typically they may ask another person about me, and the other person knows that I'm open about being a vampire. It's usually pretty simple to communicate. Um, but there is something I do want to talk about, and it has to do with the stages of some people do when they're actually uh, coming to accept and realize that, for one, vampires exist, and two, that I am one. It's interesting, and I could kind of tell by a person's behavior what stage they're in. It's almost like they're in a stages of denial. Um, Another thing, I do want to talk about more of that in deeper detail in another video. But one thing I also want to talk about is um, being at peace. I didn't actually hear anybody say this tonight, but I could almost hear a person that I do care about and known for a while. I could hear her voice, almost imagining it, saying, Wally doesn't have peace. He's never at peace. And do I think I would be at peace if I was to behave like a proper vampire and be drinking blood and stuff? Possibly, but I'm not going to find out because I don't do that. I have theorized that the lack thereof of peace might be related to not living a proper vampiric life, so to speak. I don't care, you know. Um, I know other people care about me, but I've learned from past mistakes of being an adult that it's not about what other people want from me. It's about what I want for myself. Um, Ultimately, I am the one taking care of myself and living the life I choose. It's not easy, especially with temptation, when people want to give me things that if I could only tell them how it makes me feel, which is the proper thing for me to do, but to vocalize why I cannot accept certain things, and then to hear them say, no, you should accept this, and then for me to really be uncomfortable, you know, that it's complicated. Um, so yeah, am I at peace? Like, no, never, mostly never. Am I trying too hard? Am I restless? Can it be because I'm not living a proper life, being what I am, and untrue to myself? But perhaps. But that's too bad because I've got my rules, I got my values, and I love people. And I'll put people before I put myself. I do that to a fault, and I've tried to find a way to put myself, my own life, my personal life, um, to get a better personal life created for myself. And I've thought about things, but I don't know. Something I need to work on. So, so yeah, um, I'm continuing to grow. Love these videos, making the videos and exploring my thoughts and being open about who and what I am. Trying to spread positive awareness to not have the fear, hate, the uncertainty, that nice vampires do exist, um, and that all people should try to have therapy. I was speaking to someone I know today and saying, hey, look how it's so useful to do therapy videos for me to talk about my trauma so I could reveal the feelings underneath, be aware of those feelings, and then let my body heal and process those feelings. I said, that's how you deal with trauma. That's how I deal with it. So, you know, I hope to be able to help people do that for themselves because I know that people have trauma. And I hope to do my part, you know. And I did hear a quote today, and I'm paraphrasing the quote, meaning that I'm not saying it word for word, but um, I, I, one a person I respect said that uh, uh, it's just I don't know, I'm being weird right now. You ever try to say something, but you're not sure if you're saying it correctly, and you're like unsure whether or not to actually say it? I'm just gonna say it. The quote is, um, "You're not a man until you have something to die for," something like that. And helping others and helping myself to be able to help others better is something that I'm willing to die for. Um, and I think if I was to have a cause besides some dreams I've had in the past of trying to help the world in other ways, I think this is something that is fueled by love. And there's plenty of love. It's like an endless resource. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. Um, I definitely feel kind of overwhelmed right now. I've got a lot of things, a lot of feelings. But yeah. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good night.